Hi friends, we're going to talk about the core today. So I know that for many of us, we might think about the core and think abs. I used to always think about that as a young Pilates teacher, and there's a lot of media around abs. But I want to tell you how much more there is to the core and why it matters and how you can be strengthening your core all day, no matter what you're doing. So think about the core as a container. We've got something like an analogy of a can. So you've got a can. If it's empty, you could crush it easily. And if it's full, if you took that can and tried to crush it, it would be nearly impossible. That's because there's equal pressure on all sides of the can from what's inside of it. That's exactly what we need to do with our core. We do have our ab muscles as part of our core, and then we have muscles along our spine in the back that wrap in with the abs and make the back part of the core. And then we have our diaphragm muscle, big breath muscle here on the ribs that makes the top, and pelvic floor muscles on the bottom. All of those things have a very precise orientation that they need for optimal engagement. And you also need a balance between the fine, small muscles and the large ones. A lot of times in our modern lifestyle, the large muscles tend to take over and compress our spines and cause our core to be in a very efficient alignment, and thus it doesn't work very well. So have you ever leaned over, maybe gone sideways to pick something up, and picked it up and felt your back hurts really bad? This can be a bad injury or even a small annoyance, but that is an example of what happens when your core isn't strong enough to do something simple that you want to do. In that case, it would be great if your core could coordinate itself very well such that you could pick that up and move something and go about your day. So this is what the core should and can accomplish. I want to show you how this works. When your core muscles are in that balanced function on all sides, they actually physically make you taller. You get more space between each vertebra. It stacks your spine up. A great example of this is a lot of times when I work with clients one-on-one, I measure them at the beginning of the session and the end, just to give them something tangible that they can realize how much work they did and how they're changing. One client had an amazing transformation in just one session. I measured him at the beginning and at the end. At the end of the session, he was 3 inches taller, and he felt so good. His body felt so happy with that. Not just the information, but also how his body felt. He could feel that everything was more aligned and was easier. Those transformations are possible for everyone. With just a little information, you might not get 3 inches taller right away, but it is possible to make this happen in small ways every day. So I'm going to show you right now. Something that I like everyone to try to do is what I call spine stacking. So if you imagine that your head, your rib cage, and your pelvis are 3 distinct pieces. A lot of times, these pieces get into an alignment more or less like this. Now, I don't even like standing that way for that long to show you. So if I go from here, I'm going to imagine that those building blocks of my pelvis, my head, and my ribs start to stack up. So just try that with me. Even if you're not starting from a huge deviation, this is an amazing thing to practice. If you try to feel like as you do that, that your head reaches upwards, that can also help to unweight your whole spine. Once you're doing this, it's important to remember that as our posture gets very collapsed forward, our weight often stays forward, and that can inhibit our spine staying stacked all day. So as you practice your stacking, once again, I want you then to try and get your weight to go back a little bit. That can help your spine stay lengthened all day long. Once we get into some of the other videos of how you can pick things up with core awareness and how you can sit down and stand up using your big leg muscles and all of your core strength, that will help you tremendously. The spine stacking is great to practice a lot of times during the day. You can practice it if you're waiting in line, if you're sitting in your car, You can practice it if you're walking, if you're cooking dinner. There are many opportunities, and we're going to have also another video that will show you how to implement all of those opportunities for strength and health all day long.